Alexandra, welcome to Climate Action Live.
Thank you for having me.
Alexandra, you're the Director of Nature Governance at the Earth Laws Centre's Nature Governance Agency. And your work has been at the heart of this fast-growing trend of having nature and the environment represented in corporate governance. Could you tell us about your mission, your latest work, and what you see is behind all the interesting concepts like nature on the board?
Okay, the first thing that I want to say is my title is Director of Nature Governance. And that does not mean that I'm here to direct nature or that we are here to govern nature. That is not at all where we're coming from. It's a shorthand for the correct expression, which is nature conscious governance. So my role really is to direct a team to develop framework and support the concept of nature conscious governance and to support organizations like private and public enterprises, government departments, non-governmental organizations, reintegrate nature consciousness within our governance system. And by that, I mean that we need to understand, we need to remember, and we need to be able to re-embody the fact that we are nature. We as human beings are nature, and our systems are within nature. So it's a reintegration of this understanding, of this awareness that we are nature, as well as reintegrating that understanding within our governance system. So we're not setting ourselves aside and apart from nature, but we are reintegrating the principles and the laws and the values of nature within our governance system.
It's amazing. How wonderful. I mean, seriously, right? I mean, if big change is going to happen, business are really, obviously going to be at the heart of that. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Give me one example, brief example, would you, of how you're supporting a business to respect an aspect of nature. Give me an example to bring that to life for the audience.
We are not going out there telling people what to do and what to take care of. We, first of all, want to work with people who actually realize that they need to change, because we are the change from within, right? We know that businesses are 100% reliant on nature as a whole. So we like and we want to work with businesses and the people at the heart of these businesses who actually want to be the good that we want to see in this world, who want to be the change that we want to see in this world. And so the first thing that we do when people approach us, and right now, mostly it's been people, it's been organizations who have approached us. And they have said, we want to put nature on the board. We want to put nature in our organization. We want the voice of nature. We want a representative of nature. There are different ways that we can, integrate nature consciousness. And so the first question that we ask is, why? Why? And what do you mean by nature? And the reason why we ask that question is because there are different natures. In our Western Eurocentric mind and culture, we have separated ourselves from nature. There is nature that is outside ourselves, and then there are the human beings. But when we look at nature as the broader concept, then we have different types of natures. We tend to use Nielsen's Nature of Nature framework. And that means that we're looking at nature as the physical whole, the elements, the environmental, or the natural environment. And then we also have nature as beyond human, nature as other than human, nature as not human made, so something that is deemed natural in that sense. But we also have nature as the essence of the world, the essence of the universe. And we have nature as the essence or the nature of things, the nature of being, the nature of relationships. So when we are invited by organizations to help them, to assist them in integrating the voice of nature, we ask them first, what do they mean by nature? Because it could mean nature as the bees, for instance, nature as, cultural evolution as well, or cultural developments, so cultural knowledge. I'm thinking about one of our partners. It could be, it could mean nature as the trees, but it's also the nature of business, because the truth is, this is what we are really trying to change. We want to protect the natural environment, and we want to protect Gaia as a whole, and we want to protect all life on Earth. But this can only happen if we change the nature of business, if we change the nature of our governance systems, if we change the nature of our economies. So we have to look at the nature of this as well. And then the next step for these organizations is why? Why do you want to bring nature on board? Because here's the thing, we have managed to bring nature on the board of a corporation, as you know, is getting really well known. Faith in Nature, an eco-beauty company based in the UK, has brought nature as a non-executive director on their board. So this is actually a legal innovation, first of its kind. So we know that in a legal sense, in a technical sense, you can bring the voice of nature on a board. And then what? What happens then? Because what matters is what you're going to do afterwards. It's not enough to bring nature on the board. You have to really think, about the vision that you are creating and the reality that you want to co-create, that you want to manifest, so that you're looking at your values, your principles, and you're looking at what you will be changing, what you will be becoming. So when we integrate, or when we start on the process of integrating the voice of nature, we really want to understand the why. What is the vision that you have in mind? How do you want to change things, and why do you want to change things? And that means that when you bring nature on the board for us, it means that you are ready to practice nature conscious governance and leadership. So you are actively seeking and committing, engaging yourself to practice nature conscious governance. Those principles of, regeneration, restoration, reciprocity, relationality. So you're looking at a different way of being, a different way of relating from the inside out.
Amazing. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you, Alexandra, for that explanation. Really, really incredible. So it's June 2024. What's your assessment of the current situation, in relation to our journey of protecting our planet and its people?
My assessment is that we are still trying, and there is a difference between trying and doing. There is nothing wrong with the fact that we are trying. We talk a lot, which is good because we're entering into a conversation, and it means that we're really trying to tease out so many different ways, so many different understandings, so many different perceptions, and we're trying to prioritize. But what I would like to see is more action, aligned action, and bringing nature on the board, for instance, bringing nature into those conversations at every levels, for me would be quite significant in moving towards action. Because right now we have all of these targets, we have all of these metrics, we have all kinds of accountability mechanisms, but to me they seem more like tick box exercise in some ways, where they are not actually embedded at the strategic level, where they don't become a lived reality. And I believe that integrating the voice of nature, and by that I mean the voices, plural, because there are different perspectives as well and different voices. But integrating the voices allows us to have more wisdom. All the know-how, the technical know-how, all the technology that we have developed, all the expertise that we have developed, we know what we have to do, and we know what we should stop doing, and we know what we should be aiming for. But are we doing that? I've said this before, I don't think we are, really. I don't think we are really walking the talk, because what we need is wisdom. We need wisdom. We have everything that we need to change, to transform in a positive way. What we need now is the courage to actually do this, and the guidance that allows us to really step into a nature positive practice. And that's why the voice of nature becomes essential, because it's the voice of nature's. And that means we really get into a process of reflection, where we can really think about what we are doing, where we can reevaluate what we are doing and putting this into practice. That's how we make ethical decisions that then lead to ethical behavior, that then lead to ethical actions. So with regard to the state of the world today, I think we are doing, as humanity, we are doing what we can, and we are doing well enough in the sense that we are growing. And I know that it doesn't look necessarily that we're going fast enough, in practice on the ground. But I think what is needed is more and more people to really feel confident to step into these spaces and be a voice of nature, so that we can actually get things moving, in a substantive way, so that it's not tick box. It actually becomes a new way of life. It is a cultural shift that we need to do. It's not just target based. It has to be cultural.
A phrase: no climate action, no peace. Could you talk to me about what you think when you hear that statement?
I think you've really hit the nail on the head here. I will start with peace, because nature conscious governance is about peace. Antonio Guterres said humanity is at war with nature. The preamble of the Council of Europe states that it is in the mind of men that war was born. And so it is in the mind of men that peace shall flourish. I'm paraphrasing. So peace is the essence of what we need to practice. It's not a state of being. It's not static, and it's not a destination. It's a direction. Peace is a practice. We need to practice peace. And we need to practice peace through all of the elements that are out of balance. And that includes climate. But the way that I look at climate is that climate is part of the whole nature question. Because the way that we treat the world, the way that we treat each other as human beings, the way that we treat other than human beings, other than human lives, the way that we treat our natural environment, we are not caring enough and compassionate enough. I'm generalizing when I say this, but we are treating each other as though we were in competition and we are at war. When we need to step into a place of caring compassion and understanding that we can only evolve and grow through symbiosis. So we need to cultivate peace with each other. The way that we disseminate our forests, the way that we pollute our waters, our oceans, and I say "our" because I'm looking at us as as Earth self, as a planetary being, as a living sentient, being Gaia in that sense. The way that we treat ourselves and each other is the reason why we have a climate crisis, is the reason why we have a climate change. It's a consequence, cause and effect. The cause is human behavior. And that human behavior has depleted our natural environments. That human behavior has proceeded through the extinction of so many species beyond human species. Actually, we're also literally trying to kill each other. We are constantly in a state of waging war. We need to step into a state of practicing peace through compassion, of trying to harmonize with each other, of wanting to harmonize. And that means respecting differences and diversity. That's where biodiversity comes into play as well. It is through diversity that life is created. Monocultures tend to die out. And if all we want to do is constantly, treat the rest of the world as though it is ours to do as we want, in a supremacist, as a way, like we have dominion over it, then we will keep on having all of these crises, and climate change isn't going to get any better. Climate change is a consequence of human actions. So if we practice peace, we will actually reach a peaceful, harmonizing kind of reality. But if we choose to continue practicing war, that is what we're going to keep on having. So there is no climate change without peace, and there is no peace without nature.
Amazing, Alexandra. Incredible to hear you talk about that. Absolutely inspirational. Thank you so much. Finally, I want to ask you, if people would like to support you and your work, how can they best do that? How can they find out information about what you're doing?
So, as you mentioned earlier on, the Nature Governance Agency is a program of the Earth Law Center. The Earth Law Center is an NGO that is based in the US and that operates globally. So we have many programs. NGA is one of them. You can go on our website, and it's www.earthlawcenter.org. I think I should really know, but I'm not sure I've got it right. So you can go on our website and donate. You can definitely take part in our fundraising events, and actually reach out to us as well for collaboration, and for organizations who want to integrate the voice of nature to reach out to us. We also have a dedicated website for nature governance, which is www.naturegovernance.org. I know this one because I actually spend a lot of time on this one. And so you can reach out to us, and we'd love to collaborate. So yeah, we are a huge team of dedicated volunteers, primarily pro bono as well. So any support would be great. This is pretty much our passion and our purpose now. And frankly, I would say that in this day and age, every single one of us has a role to play. So this is our role. This is what we are here to do. So yeah, if you feel that this is also something that you would like to be a part of, reach out to us. We have the Wildflowers. It's our little internship program for professionals as well as for students and scholars. And we also have a Sodality program for organizations who want to learn more about how to integrate the voice of nature. These are all the ways that you can support us.
Alexandra, thank you so much. The very best of luck with your incredible work, and thank you for participating in Climate Action Live.
Thank you so very much. That was a pleasure.